Hello everyone and welcome to another Star Wars figure review. Today we're going to take a look at a multi-pack from the Star Wars The Force Awakens line of 3 3/4 inch action figures. And in today's review we're going to take a look at the very cool duo of this guy, Sidon Ithano, the Crimson Corsair, and his buddy, First Mate Quiggold. These are two very cool characters and two very cool figures as well. I've got to say, without a doubt, these are two of Hasbro's best 5-point of articulation figures that they've released in recent memory. The sculpts, the detail and paint applications on these guys are absolutely phenomenal, and I've got to admit, if this is the way forward for 5-point of articulation figures, then count me in, all the way. These are fantastic, really well designed figures, and I can't wait to give you a look at them. So before we get onto these, we are going to take a look at the packaging that they come in. Now once again, we do get these standard multi-pack packaging design for this lineup. So you've got the Kylo Ren brand image featured at the top with the Force Awakens logo. You've also got some very cool artwork just off to the side of Sidon himself with Quiggold down at the bottom. And then on the back of the box we do have some other products available in the Force Awakens line. So we have there the Build-A-Weapon Han Solo figure, Chewbacca from the Armour Up series, and the Elite Speeder Bike from the Class 1 vehicle range. So a couple of descriptions for each character there at the side, and then you've got that really cool artwork once again. Really nice indeed. So that is the packaging that these figures come in. Now let's take a look at the figures themselves, and we'll begin by taking a look at Sidon Ithano. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing his name right, correct me if I'm wrong guys. But this is the Crimson Corsair. Very cool figure indeed. I've got to say, I was absolutely smitten with this character design ever since he made his first appearance in that Vanity Fair magazine that was dedicated to The Force Awakens. It came out sometime last year, I believe, and we got a decent look at this guy, not only in that magazine but also in one of the featurettes that I believe debuted at Comic-Con in the run-up to the release of The Force Awakens. So it was really nice to see this guy actually appear in a prominent role in the film. For those of you that don't remember, Sidon Ithano and First Mate Quiggold do appear in Maz Kanata's castle when Finn is having his doubts about joining the Resistance and going off to fight the First Order. He does attempt to leave, and Maz points him in the direction of these two to take him to the Outer Rim to escape. Obviously, in the end, he does change his mind, but these two do appear in the film quite prominently. They're almost the Han Solo and Chewbacca to Finn's Luke Skywalker. That is a bit of background for you. In terms of an actual action figure, Sidon Ithano, again, one of the best that Hasbro have put out in recent memory. The sculpt on this guy is absolutely stunning. They've captured some great detail on this figure, and they've just really gone overboard with the paint applications in a sense that it's absolutely top notch. What I really like about this one is that you've got this absolutely gorgeous gloss finish on the helmet, which is, I've got to say, very General Grievous inspired. Very cool looking indeed. You've got some great sculpted detail in the outfit, as you can see. Very unorthodox looking design there. Obviously Sidon rather, is wearing a cape, which again has some great sculpted textures in there. Really nicely done. And he does come with a nicely designed weapon as well. Almost looks like a shotgun or something like that. And he does come with what looks like a musket sculpted into the holster on his leg there. Now, in terms of articulation, with Sidon Ithano we do get a ball joint at the head, although this is more of a swivel on this figure. We do have swivels at the shoulders and swivels at the hips, so once again standard 5 points of articulation, but I can easily overlook that limited posability just to appreciate the sculpt and design of this figure. It is really well done. I've got to say, if there's any figure that you pick up from The Force Awakens, forget Kylo Ren, forget Captain Phasma, heck, forget Rey, Han Solo and the rest of them. This is the one you want to pick up if you're looking for just a very nice action figure. This hits the mark on so many levels. There is Sidon Ithano. The only drawback to this guy obviously is the fact that the blaster pistol on the side is sculpted to the holster, but That's not a major issue, it's easily overlooked. Again, the rest of the figure easily makes up for that. So moving on, let's take a look at his buddy First Mate Quiggold, and again, this is a phenomenal figure, really well sculpted once again. As you can see, he's got this very strange looking character design to him. I'm not 100% sure on the name of his species, although I'm sure there are a few people out there who will know what this guy, or the species that this guy belongs to. So again, feel free to leave that in the comment section and educate me as I go along. But again, very cool design, great sculpt on that head, I've got to say. There's some really cool wrinkles, it's just some great texture going on in the skin. Again, like with Sidon Ithano, you've got some great sculpted texture in the outfit. As you can see, you get this really cool, rough, ragged feel to the outfit with this one. And it just looks very, very cool indeed. As you can see, Quiggold does have a peg leg, which actually led me to believe that it was Simon Pegg who played this character. You know, I thought this was an in-joke, but obviously it turned out that Simon Pegg played Unkar Plutt in the film, so that threw my theory out of the window, but I'm sure I'm not the only one who thought that at the time. In terms of articulation, Quiggold does feature a substantial amount as well. We do get a swivel at the neck, although it's very, very limited. The articulation is there, but the head barely moves, obviously because of this hood or cowl that restricts some of that movement. You do have hinges, or swivels rather, at the shoulders, just there. We actually get a swivel at the waist as well with this figure. That's probably to make up for the lack of head articulation. And we also have swivels at the hips as well. So a great figure once again. And we actually get an accessory with Quiggold as well, that comes in the form of this thing, which is an absolutely huge Gatling gun, I assume. I'm not 100% sure what weapon this is supposed to be. I don't think we see him with this in the film. Maybe he carries it onto the ship as Finn and these two are about to leave. I seriously can't remember. But as you can see, Quiggold can hold that weapon like so, and looks very cool doing that. I've got to say, even though this figure looks a little bit short, looks a little bit stocky, and looks like he'd probably tip over if he was carrying a weapon of this size in real life, it works really well, and I love the look of this figure with this weapon in place. So a great figure all around, great accessories, great sculpt, and just a great multi-pack. I've got to say, this is one of my favourite 2-packs from the Force Awakens line so far. Darth Vader and Ahsoka was fantastic, you know. Unkar's Thug and BB-8 offered up some very cool characters too, but this one just hits every mark for me. Character design, quality of the figures, absolutely top-notch stuff, and I really can't recommend this pack enough. So if you want to add this one to your collection, as always, there is a link down below in the video description where you can pick these guys up from staractionfigures.co.uk, and as I said, highly recommend you do, guys, because these are phenomenal figures. So that is going to do it for this review on Sidon Ithano, or Sidon Ithano. Really not sure how to pronounce his name, to be honest. We'll just call him the Crimson Corsair for now. And of course, First Mate Quiggold. Very cool characters and very cool figures. So I hope you've enjoyed this review, and I'll be back with many more very, very soon. Until then, as always, thank you for watching. Keep collecting, and may the Force be with you.